Hi, welcome to another vintage day. Today we are exploring Port Townsend in Washington, and we are in, what's it called?
Fort Worden.
Fort Worden. It's such a well-preserved actual fort that they've used over the years for different things, and now you can stay here at like a hotel, and they have a lot of functions that go on in this area. You've done most of the exploring. What do you think about the place?
It's great. You can bring your dog too.
Oh, yes. If you have a dog, this is a wonderful place for him. And you're right on the edge of the water, so you have access to incredible grounds and hiking trails. I think you've gone on some of them.
Yep.
And the views of the water are incredible from here. But throughout this tour, we're going to show you parts of Port Townsend. We happen to be here for the Victorian Festival, but we're also just taking some time to enjoy the area. So, let's get started.
Yes.
So it's a bit of a drive to get out to Port Townsend because it's a bit remote, and it took us at least a couple of hours from the main towns. And we came up on Highway
101.
101. Lovely drive. It was definitely worth the time to take it. And we are on what they call the Olympic Peninsula out here in the Washington state. And this town is absolutely beautiful.
I sure loved it.
The first non-native settlers arrived in 1851, and Port Townsend here, it became Puget Sound's customs port of entry. I had no idea, and it still is. I saw the building. And it's amazing how well preserved and charming this little Victorian town is. Although I've heard many stories when we went to the talk here about how many times this town has busted and boomed.
Seems to be the case in many towns on the West Coast.
That's true. That's true. So we spent some time walking down in the historic district, and it is just filled with some of the coolest shops. They have bookstore, antiques, lots of vintage jewelry, and home decor. And I took you into the hat shop. You know how much I love hats. Wasn't that like the most awesome store?
That was very dangerous.
Yeah, because we bought you a hat.
Oh yeah. Oops. Don't tell anyone.
Not me.
Don't tell anyone.
As we said earlier, we were attending the Victorian Heritage Festival here in Port Townsend. So everywhere we went, there were people dressed up in Victorian-style clothing.
Even I.
Yes, Bear has now succumbed to the habit of wearing Victorian clothing. And it was just lovely to see people turned out so nicely.
Yeah,
And
that was great.
isn't it amazing how people treat you when you're all dressed up?
That's for sure. If you want to be the center of attention.
But it's not just that. I mean,
in a good way.
Yeah.
In a good way.
They like smile at you and engage in conversation.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So not only did we want to spend time just in the downtown area, but we really wanted to get out and see the little town itself, because I've heard there's over 300 Victorian homes in this town. And what was the population? About, I don't know,
Just under 10,000.
just under 10,000. So that's a lot of Victorian homes for such a small town.
Yep.
And they're just all seem to be well preserved.
Oh yeah, and the ratio of those houses compared to the modern ones, huge.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Really, yeah, beautiful town. We stayed at Fort Worden, which is located just on the edge of town, and we stayed in one of the units that was called the what's that? What is it?
The NCO row.
But what does NCO row mean?
Non commissioned officers
non-commissioned officers. Okay.
compared to the officers on another part of the fort.
Like the more ritzier ones.
Yes.
Higher uppers.
We stayed in a more
down to earth, shall we say.
Down to earth.
But you know what? For down to earth, the place was really nice.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was well appointed.
Uh-huh.
Had, 2 nice bedrooms and a bath, and the living room was big. What about the kitchen?
Pretty big, and they let your dog in.
Yes, they do have a few where your dogs can stay, but if you're going to stay there, you want to book early because they don't have a lot of them.
Okay.
But definitely worth the money to stay at this place, and it helps support the state parks.
Mm-hmm. And very quiet, away from traffic. The largest traffic there was deers.
Yeah, exactly.
Tons of deers.
The grounds are great for strolling and picnicking, and you have easy access to the forest, and the shoreline is real close by, and there's even a lighthouse on this state park, and they have a couple houses right next to it that you can rent. They also have some hiking trails for those who are up for a bit of exercise, which would be you, not me. Fort Worden was officially established in 1902 and was in operation until 1953. And then it kind of had some off years, but in 1973 they actually turned it into a state park.
Great idea.
But it's huge. I can't imagine just the upkeep of this
place.
place.
Acres and acres and acres, and most of the buildings are gone if you look at the old photos.
You're kidding.
Oh yeah, like 80 to 90% of the buildings are gone.
No way.
From the days of being really, really busy. And so they kept the best, apparently.
Mm-hmm. Out walking around, I see that the buildings are used for just all kinds of things, like a place to have yoga, conferences, and didn't you see a woodworking school?
Yes, there was a couple of large buildings, and you could see a few folks being taught various ways of woodworking and whatnot, because there's so many places in town or at the base itself to remodel constantly.
Yeah.
They have to keep training people how to do it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So that's great. Love it.
And it looks like, I know there was one open restaurant and there was at least one other one, but they all seemed like they might be a little bit seasonal. Mm-hmm. And oh my gosh, that beautiful little theater. I would love to see the inside of that.
Yeah, looked pretty cute from outside.
And it was one of the favorite spots for the deer to hang out too. Over the years, they've developed a couple of museums, such as the Coast Artillery Museum and the Commanding Officers' Quarters, which we just stumbled on by accident. And we absolutely loved this house. It was
just an hour before they closed for the day.
Exactly.
They were like, anybody here?
But we were met with this lovely volunteer who just knew so
a couple.
much.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And it was just full of so many wonderful antiques, and just really, everything was so perfectly cared for. I don't know if you noticed, but in the dining room, there was one of my favorite things, and I've only seen it at one other house. It's that steam heating system for the house, and it had a place where you could open it up and you can put the food in there to keep it warm, or maybe your plates.
It makes total sense. Everybody should have one of those.
I know, and all the houses that we've been in and had that, what did we not open a door on it or something? I mean, it should be, obligatory.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Call your congressman.
This place is just so peaceful and quiet. If you wanted to get away and, write a novel or something, this would probably be the ideal location. But then, of course, the deer. They're everywhere. I mean, they have right away. There's a bigger population of deer living here than probably people.
Yes, not just the base itself, it's the whole town.
The entire town.
Uh-huh.
There were times you just had to bring your car to a stop, put the flashers on, and wait for 5 of them to take their old. They only have one speed, and it's called slow. But yeah, they rule this town, and they know they have the right of way.
Good for them.
Wasn't this just a wonderful weekend?
It was actually 3 nights there.
Well, yeah, I guess it was, wasn't it?
But it felt like only one. So we could have
'cause-
stayed longer.
Yeah, oh my gosh, there's so much to do. We could have easily stayed another couple of days and been well entertained.
Yep.
But
And it might rain on you, but come prepared.
well, yeah, come prepared. But honestly, this particular little area gets a lot less rain than most of the surrounding peninsulas and islands for some odd reason.
Yeah, probably not by much.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's a lot nicer here. But I think we'll definitely be back
Oh, yes.
because this is just a gem of a location.
I could live there.
Yep. I definitely think we could both live here. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and hit that thumbs up. It really does help us to continue to produce these videos. You can find us on all the usual platforms, but we will leave information in the description of this video for you. And we'll see you next time right here on another Vintage Day. Bye!
Au revoir.